Who is this? When was this? Where is this? Hello, Mad Quizzers, and welcome to episode 40. Today we have a special history quiz, where we will test you with 90 general knowledge questions on famous historical events and people past and present. Without further ado, let's get started with some easy level questions. Where are the pyramids of Giza? They are in Egypt. What caused the Titanic to sink? The ship hit an iceberg during its maiden voyage in 1912. Who is this Roman emperor? It's Julius Caesar. Who is this? It is Tutankhamun. Who was the first man in space? It was the Russian astronaut Yuri Gagarin. This happened in 1961, 8 years before US astronaut Neil Armstrong became the first person to walk on the moon. Who is this famous British queen? It's Queen Victoria, who ruled in Britain from 1837 until 1901. Who was the first person to walk on the moon? It was Neil Armstrong, one of the astronauts on the Apollo 11 mission in 1969. Who sailed in these long boats? It was the Vikings. What country is home to the Colosseum? It is Italy. What was Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart famous for? He was a music composer. Who is famous for building straight roads? It was the Romans. Who is this? It is King Henry VIII, the English king that had lots of wives. This girl wrote a famous diary during the war. Who is she? It's Anne Frank. Which civilization invented hieroglyphic writing? It was the Egyptians. Which civilization built Machu Picchu in Peru? It was the Incas. What is this famous painting? It's the Mona Lisa. Who is this famous British wartime Prime Minister? It is Winston Churchill. Who discovered America in 1492? It was Christopher Columbus. Question 19. What year did COVID-19 pandemic begin? It was 2019, of course. Who is this famous English playwright, poet and actor? It's William Shakespeare. What year did America declare independence? It was in 1776. Who is this? It's Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. What year did JFK take this car journey? It was 1963. Who is this Egyptian queen? It's Cleopatra. What empire was famous for gladiators? It was the Romans. What year did the Great Fire of London happen? It was 1666. What was the language of ancient Rome? It was Latin. In which year did World War II end? It was 1945. What did Gustave Eiffel design and build in Paris? It was the Eiffel Tower, of course. Which famous artist painted this? Vincent van Gogh. Right, that's enough easy questions. Let's move on to some medium-level history questions. These will be slightly trickier than the ones so far, so good luck. The Berlin Wall fell in which year? It was 1989. The American Civil War was fought between which years? It was between 1861 and 1865. What year was the Battle of Hastings? It was in 1066. Who was the first person to climb Mount Everest? Edmund Hillary was the first person to summit Everest, along with the Sherpa mountaineer Tenzing Norgay. Who was the king of the Greek gods? It was Zeus. What year did the Titanic sink? It was in 1912. Did you remember that from the earlier question in this quiz? Who built Machu Picchu in Peru? It was the Incas that built Machu Picchu. How did Egyptians preserve bodies for the afterlife? They did it through a process called mummification. What year was the gunpowder plot? It was 1605. What brothers flew the world's first successful airplane? It was the Wright brothers in 1903. Who painted the Sistine Chapel in Rome? It was Michelangelo. Who is this? It's Margaret Thatcher, the first female Prime Minister of the UK. Where is the Parthenon? It's in Greece. It's a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. Which Chinese dynasty is famous for these vases? It is the Ming dynasty. Who started the ancient Olympic Games? It was the Greeks. Who is this? It's Napoleon Bonaparte. Who is this? It's George Washington, the first president of the United States. What was the name of the trade route that connected China with Europe? It was the Silk Road. What did Alexander Graham Bell invent in 1876? He invented the telephone. Who was Marco Polo? He was an explorer famous for his extensive travels from Europe to Asia along the Silk Road. Which empire was ruled by Genghis Khan? It was the Mongol Empire. This is the first woman to win the Nobel Prize, but who is she? She is Marie Curie, a pioneer in the field of radioactivity, and also the person that discovered the scientific elements polonium and radium. What is the significance of this stamp? It was the first ever adhesive postage stamp. It is called the penny black and was first issued in the United Kingdom on the 1st of May 1840. What did Scotsman John Logie Baird invent in 1926? He invented the television. What was the first animated movie? It was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, released by Walt Disney back in 1937. Who is this? It's Nelson Mandela, the anti-apartheid activist and statesman who became the first president of South Africa. What scandal forced US President Richard Nixon to resign in 1974? It was the Watergate scandal. The Cold War was between the United States and what other world power? It was Soviet Union. What famous music festival took place in 1969? It was Woodstock. Which country did the United Kingdom fight against in the Falklands War? It was Argentina. Right, let's move on to some hard questions. If you know these, you really are a history expert. Good luck. The Opium Wars were fought between Britain and which country? It was China. What is the name of this dung beetle that was worshipped by ancient Egyptians? It's a scarab beetle. In 1927, who became the first man to fly solo and non-stop across the Atlantic? It was Charles Lindbergh. What is the name of the disease that ravaged and killed a third of Europe's population in the 14th century? It was the bubonic plague. Who was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic? It was Amelia Earhart in 1932. Which Roman emperor built a massive wall across northern Britain in 122 AD? It was Hadrian. The wall is called Hadrian's Wall. Which South American country has a famous canal running through it? It's Panama. The Cuban Revolution led to the rise of what dictator? It was Fidel Castro. What is the significance of the Gutenberg Bible? It was the first mass-printed book. Who is this? It's Rosa Parks, the famous American civil rights activist. Which Chinese square was the site of protests in 1989? It was Tiananmen Square. Who invented penicillin? It was Alexander Fleming. Which Argentinian became a notable figure in the Cuban Revolution? It was Che Guevara. Which country did England send convicts to between 1788 and 1868? They sent them to Australia. What modern-day city was known as Bombay? It is Mumbai in India. What were warriors in Japan known as? They were known as samurai. The Statue of Liberty was a gift from which country? It was France. What was the name of the B-29 bomber that dropped the first atomic bomb on Hiroshima? The plane was called Enola Gay. What was the name of the ship that carried the pilgrims to America in 1620? It was the Mayflower. Who was the first African American to be elected President of the United States? It was Barack Obama. Which country is famous for its terracotta army? It is China. Which one of the 7 wonders of the world still exists? The Great Pyramid of Giza is the only one that still exists. How was the ancient Roman city of Pompeii destroyed? It was due to a volcano. Which female leader of ancient Egypt had a relationship with Mark Antony? It was Cleopatra. The 12-month calendar and 365-day year were created by who? They were created by the Romans. Which UK queen ruled the longest? Was it Victoria or Elizabeth? It was Queen Elizabeth. She ruled for more than 70 years. Where did Vikings believe that brave warriors went after death? It was Valhalla. Who was Sir Francis Drake? He was an explorer. Who is this? It is Emmeline Pankhurst, the British political activist who organised the suffragette movement and helped women to win the right to vote in Great Britain back in 1918. Which country did Germany invade on the 1st of September 1939? It was Poland. It was this invasion that led Great Britain and France to declare war on Germany on September 3rd, 1939. Well, that's the end of this history episode, Mad Quizzers. Please let me know in the comments how many questions you answered correctly, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the episode. Oh, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. See you soon for another episode.